Hey Beyond Macros heroes, it's Matt and I'm back with another video to help you make your transformation that lasts. And it's that time of year again. The one where your family shows love by peer pressuring you into bad food choices, airport and roadside eateries test the fortitude of your gut, and New Year's resolutions look like the light at the end of the tunnel. With a holiday season that runs from the last week of November through to January, there is a lot of room for you to either make progress or start the next year off way behind. This video is here to help you navigate your nutrition during the holiday season. So leave a comment if you'll give in to peer pressure this year, or if you're going to choose your personal power. Here in the US, Thanksgiving marks the point where giving in to optimal foraging theory and binging on food and alcohol during an endless barrage of dinner parties with friends, office parties, and family gatherings begins. But let me tell you a little secret. You don't have to choose between being that guy or that girl at the dinner table and staying healthy. It's a false dichotomy. You can have your stuffing and eat it too. There are three main areas where I find clients struggle during the holidays. First is the challenge of eating out, going to holiday parties, family dinners, and more. How do you strike a balance between enjoying yourself while reaching your fitness goals? Second is managing the travel days where you're in the airport, on a road trip, etc. And third is how to adapt your nutrition and exercise as well as your lifestyle routines to fit a less consistent schedule. So I will discuss each situation and how I recommend overcoming them. So regarding the challenge of eating out, going to parties, and eating at family dinners, let's start with the big picture in mind, and from there I'll narrow down to some of the situations clients have found themselves in and the solutions that we Beyond Macros coaches have come up with. From a big picture perspective, you can expect that you will be invited to numerous events you either want to attend or feel an obligation to attend between now and January 1st. You have about 35 days between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. And I think it goes without saying that being extreme about your diet over the next 35 days is gonna be very stressful. Sure, bringing a food scale everywhere and staying on point with your macros, sticking to your training plan without any missed sessions, and sleeping a full 8 hours per night will keep you on track towards your goals. But if we zoom out, the stress of trying to manage and control everything is probably going to have worse health consequences than a few off-plan choices. So I think it's important to build some slack into the system over the next 35 days. And if you're okay with giving yourself just one event per week where you can relax and enjoy good company, that gives you 5 events between now and New Year's to just relax and enjoy being present with your people and your food. And I know that is a scary idea for some of you, especially if you believe you are all or nothing and will turn into a monster without any extreme oversight and restrictive rules. So I will give you some areas where you can focus to avoid turning into a hybrid of the Hulk and the Hamburglar. But before we get there, I recommend you look at a calendar and determine which social events you want to use your 5 get out of tracking your macros free cards. My recommendation is to identify the dinners, parties, and family gatherings that you are really looking forward to. Love your office family? Put your office holiday party on the calendar as one of your 5 relaxed social settings. Just salivating, thinking about your mom's famous stuffing? Put your family's Thanksgiving dinner on the calendar as another one of your 5. Got big plans for New Year's with your friends and just know there will be champagne showers involved? Put that on the calendar as one of your 5. You might find that after putting a few on your calendar that you have 1 or 2 wild cards that you can put into play for last minute plans. You might be wondering if this means you have to be a hermit and avoid any social situations that aren't these 5 fun events. But that's not what I'm advocating. It just means that you have 5 events to relax your standards, enjoy your company, and go with the flow. At the rest of the events you find yourself attending, enjoy the company, but keep things under control. Stick to your good eating habits with some pre-planning and by focusing on eating the right portions of food for your goals. Don't deviate from what a normal meal looks like just because you're out. For your fun 5 events, you have a license to just let your hair down, but keep in mind, a blowout day can set back a week's worth of progress. Your body doesn't operate in these binaries. You don't have bad days and good days that cancel each other out. A bad day of eating can turn into a terrible day of eating, which can turn into a disastrous day of eating. And one disastrous day of eating cannot simply be undone by a day or 2 of good eating. If you crush an extra 4,000 calories of food and drink in one night, which is surprisingly easy to do, it will take you more than a week to counteract that decision. And if you're letting your hair down every week, well, you're gonna be taking quite a few steps backwards this holiday season. And that is why during your Fun 5 events, you absolutely must avoid the slippery slope of thinking, well, I already made one bad decision, what's one more? And that brings us down to some situational strategies you can use to keep things in control, especially when you are at a social event or restaurant outside of your Fun 5 events. The most common trap of the situation that occurs is this slippery slope. Let me paint the picture. You've had an absolutely lovely dinner with great company. You ate until you were content and even enjoyed the stuffing and potatoes au gratin, which you normally would pass up. You can't imagine eating another bite of food. And then desserts come out. The pumpkin pie just looks so good. It brings up a flood of childhood memories and you realize you're salivating. So you decide, what the heck, and just cut off one little slice. One slice of pumpkin pie can't hurt. First bite hits your lips and all of a sudden, the sugar it contains finds a way to convince your brain that you do in fact have way more room in your stomach than you thought. And have you ever noticed that nobody ever bakes too few desserts for a party? Desserts always manage to just sit there staring at your soul and tempting you with those sweet little puppy dog eyes to just eat one more while you're trying to relax and enjoy some post-meal conversation. Eat me, Mr. Matt. I only come around once per year. Aren't you afraid that if you don't do it now, you're gonna miss out and have to wait until next year? Plus, if you waste me, that's the number 3 contributing factor to global warming is wasted food. Might as well eat me now. No, Mr. Pumpkin Pie Slice, why are you tempting me so? I found myself going back to the pie and just cutting off one more little sliver. And before I can even sit back down, I've faced that pie and I still feel unsatisfied. 10 little slivers of pie later, I've crushed 2 more slices of pumpkin pie. Oops. So how do you deal with situations like this? I found a few options that work for me and a few others that clients have had success with. The first option might sound weird, and that's by design. After eating one dessert, if there is still lean protein or vegetables available, go eat some of them slowly. It might sound weird because who eats meat and veggies after dessert? And that's exactly the point of this exercise. The protein, especially if it's lean, like turkey breast, and the bulk of the vegetables should quickly remind you whether your pie craving is coming from a place of hunger or a place of being a sugar-crazed primate who hallucinates that desserts are talking to him. The second strategy that can help if there isn't any protein or veggies available after the desserts have been served is to get the remaining dessert out of your visual field. I dealt with some binge eating issues as a young man, and nothing was more stressful to me than leftover food sitting on the table right under my nose while I'm trying to have a conversation after the meal. It's like there's a white gorilla with purple spots sitting on the table and I'm somehow supposed to ignore it. I know from years of experience working with clients that this is a common occurrence. So here are some solutions that have worked. If you're at a restaurant, you can ask to have the leftovers taken away or boxed up for someone who is not you. It's the season of giving, and there are plenty of cold, hungry people who will gladly accept what you don't need to be eating. If you're at a friend or family's house, you can offer to help put the leftovers away and get the tempting desserts out of your sight so you can enjoy some conversation without pumpkin pie eyes staring into your soul, begging you to devour them. Or you can just relocate your conversation to another room away from the kitchen and dining area. I've called this process putting the meal to sleep because I actually started using my napkin to tuck in my leftover food at a restaurant in order to remove it from my visual awareness. It's a surprisingly effective ritual. Another situation you might find yourself in is traveling to share a holiday with family whose definition of a serving of vegetables is French fries with ketchup. I think that offering to cook and bring a dish is always welcome as long as you aren't bringing grilled chicken breast and boiled broccoli. I found that people are not shy when it comes to cooking enough meat and starch for holiday dinners, so you should be covered on the protein and carb front, unless you follow a plant-based diet, in which case your family is either used to accommodating your needs or at least you're used to prepping for yourself. Where you're likely to get screwed big time is with the portion of oil and butter drenched processed carbs that are gonna be put out, like mashed potatoes, and the fact that there's no veggies worth eating. Like, who wants to eat a salad that consists of iceberg lettuce, shredded carrots, a sliced cucumber, and a dollop of ranch dressing? So why not offer to cook up some delicious vegetables, the most delicious your family's ever set eyes on? Bake 'em Brussels sprouts, anyone? Or how about Brussels sprouts with peanut sauce? Maybe if you're not culinarily gifted, you can assemble a salad that actually tastes good and has good ingredients. I'm not sure if culinarily is a word, but I think you get what I mean. So that covers some of the ways you can strike a balance of progress towards your goal and enjoying the end of year festivities. So now let's chat about how to manage actually traveling to your destinations. If you're traveling by air or by taking a long road trip, this can pose some trying situations. If you're traveling by air, expect Murphy's Law to be in full effect. Plan for canceled or massively delayed flights. You can do this by packing 2 prepped meals and snacks to bring with you, ideally. Bring 1 hot meal and 1 salad. I know that adding meal prep to packing isn't always ideal, so you can save some stress by heading to your local healthy grocery market and filling up at their hot bar and salad bar if you don't have time to cook. For those of you in Australia, hot bars and salad bars aren't common, but you can usually grab a pre-made salad kit and a pre-made meal container at Coles, Woolies, or Aldi. While you're there, pick up protein bars, jerky or biltong, and some fruit, so you have some snacks with you. Some of my personal favorite packaged travel snacks are baby food, jerky bars like Epic bars, RX bars, and crunchy chickpeas. If you pack jerky, also remember to pack dental floss. The same packing applies to traveling by car, although your options for decent food on the road might be more abundant because you can stop at grocery stores or a build your own meal style restaurant like Chipotle along the way. And the last tough situation I want to talk about is your movement and healthy practices. Whatever you do, don't put your gym membership on hold. You want it to be easy to get into the gym and train when you have the time. Even if you can only make it once per week and it doesn't make financial sense to have an unlimited gym membership, the fact that you're paying for the membership and going to the gym remains convenient means you're more likely to make it in versus just giving up training altogether. Just don't stop moving. You should scope out the gym situation wherever you're traveling, or you can bring a small kettlebell or dumbbell with you if that's feasible. If you can't get into a gym to get a full workout in, there's no reason you can't do some body weight work, take a walk, or finally get into the stretching routine you've been fantasizing about. And if you're feeling stressed out by the holiday season, there's no better time to start or maintain your mindfulness and relaxation practices. Taking walks in the morning or after meals is a great space to clear your head. Maybe you have time off work and you can finally find space to set your meditation timer app for 10 minutes and dive into some mindfulness. Or you can get on YouTube and learn some deep breathing techniques. Perhaps you even have some days off work while your kids are still in school and you can get a nice hot Epsom salt bath in. See if you can carve out 1 hour each week for some relaxing me time. And then you'll have momentum to carry those habits into next year. And before we conclude today's episode, remember to respect your own personal power and be confident in your choices. If you seem unsure about what you're doing and why, your friends and family will sense the weakness and turn the peer pressure up to 11. We humans are surprisingly like crabs in a bucket. When one looks like they're going to escape the unhealthy boiling water, the others want to pull it back in. And the peer pressure is going to challenge your inner work, but you should welcome the challenge. How are you going to respond to the tests that the end of the year will throw at you? So let me know in the comments. Will you practice standing stronger and more confident with your power, or will you practice letting others dictate how you will act? While you're down in the comments, if you liked the video, definitely hit like and subscribe. And if you feel like you're ready to work with one of our expert nutrition coaches, feel free to set up an initial call at beyondmacros.com/call. Until next time, heroes, much love and keep shining.